All right, so welcome to our September monthly Murmuration. So these calls are a way for us to get local phenology leaders and observers together to talk about topics of interest. These have replaced the LPL monthly calls that we had last year. And we tried to expand those calls to be able to include more of our observers and then kind of focus on particular things that are of interest that people have asked for. And this month, we are going to be talking about our virtual conference that we're going to be hosting in January. So we can get into that, and we have a Google Doc to share, and we're going to be going into some breakout rooms to have smaller discussions. I'm still getting people in from the waiting room. We have people joining, so let's just get everyone in here. We can also do some quick intros just because we have some new folks on the call. So if I haven't met you before, I'm Erin Postumus. I'm the Partnerships and Projects Manager here at the NPN. And I'm joined by one of our other Erins on the team, Erin Grady, who's our engagement coordinator. She and I are going to be the ones heading up the planning for the conference. So I'll pass it to Erin next, and then we can kind of popcorn around for intros.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm the other Erin Grady, and I joined NPN about a month ago as the engagement coordinator. I'm based in Gainesville, Florida, and yeah, I'm super excited to work on planning this conference. And I will pass it to Rita and Steve.
Okay, well, Rita and I are co-chairs of a phenology committee here in Tucson, Arizona. It's sort of nested in with the Master Gardeners program that the College of Agriculture sponsors. And yeah, we have a team of 18 people that survey an area, kind of a compact area, but it has lots of plants in it. And so we make weekly observations and submit those to the network. Oh, and let's see here. How about Grace?
Okay, 2 clicks it took. Hey everybody, I'm Grace Burford, she, her, and I'm in Prescott, Arizona. So hi Rita, Steve, Erin, David. I don't know the rest of you, I think. So anyway, I am a phenology observer at a riparian preserve here in the heart of Prescott, Arizona. And that's probably enough for now.
Did you want to pick someone to go next? Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Let's see. How about Rosemary?
Hi there, my name is Rosemary Jan. I'm located in Arlington, Virginia, and I organized a phenology project for my Master Naturalist chapter 3 years ago. We're just coming to the end of our 3-year cycle. And I'll pass it to Karen.
Wow, I'm so impressed you got it right. That was awesome. I am Karen. I work at the Wells Reserve, which is part of the National Estuarine Research Reserve System across the country. And I am here in Southern Maine. I have a team of 6 phenologists, volunteer phenologists that have been taking data on, I can't remember, something like 30 species since 2019. Here at the reserve on different trails and in different little microclimates. We haven't expanded yet, but I feel like we've got a pretty good crew here. So yeah, happy to join. Oh, I will throw it to Rosemary.
I just threw it to you, so you'd have to choose somebody else.
Oh, that's right. That's so funny. How about David? David Gwynn?
Yep.
Hello, everyone. Dave, if you want to go ahead, I'll go after you.
No,
How's
no,
that?
no.
We've got 2 Davids. Wow.
Well, let me jump in there then, Dave. Let me, and I'll kick it to you. How's that? I'm David Gwynn in Houston, Texas. I am the Texas State Coordinator for the Time to Restore project, and an absolute fan of phenology and all that it touches. So I'm glad to be on the call. Glad to get to know y'all all a little bit more. I see some familiar faces and I see some new ones. So I'm looking forward to today's discussion. And with that, I'll kick it over to Dave.
Well, I guess it's my turn for real this time. Hi, Dave Desjardins. I live in Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania. It's a mountaintop right there on the Appalachian Trail, very close to the border with Maryland. I have a couple acres of land here, and I grow everything I can. And also, I'm a snowbird. I also have a place in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So I get to see two very different ecologies that are part of my world. And again, being on the Appalachian Trail and walked it quite often and here, there, and everywhere, I realize just what a valuable resource that is right in our own backyard. I'm going to pass this to another gentleman who just popped up on the screen, and I don't know your name, but you're next. All right.
Let's go to Carl.
Oh, Carl, then. All right.
Good morning. I'm Carl Horak, and I'm with the Albuquerque Biopark Botanic Garden, where there's an active group of 6 of us involved with Nature's Notebook. Here in New Mexico, we're part of the Rio Grande Phenology Trail, which runs from the Leon Curtis area near Santa Fe down to Bosque del Apache below Socorro. I'm interested in seeing how we can recruit others and drum up more interest, both out here in the West and in general. Who has not been picked yet? Let's see. Is
Lisa or
been?
Sarah?
Something in the chat there for the group to just
I was
read.
thinking Lisa was the one who hasn't been tagged.
Yeah, I'll be right back, but I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area, just making observations.
Welcome, Lisa. And
Okay.
then how about Sarah?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Boyce. Sorry, I was a little bit late today, coming from another meeting. I'm the Director of Research and Conservation at a small land trust, the Linda Loring Nature Foundation, which is on Nantucket Island off of Massachusetts. We have a phenology program that we've been running since 2014, using NPN data and Nature's Notebook. And so we use it as a training ground for lots of interns and volunteers and kind of involving people. And so I'm really interested in the conference and what we could potentially put together. I think that sounds really exciting.
Awesome. So glad to have some new faces on here. This is super. So yeah, I think just to give you a little bit of background on our thinking for this conference, we have always wanted to have more opportunities for local phenology leaders and programs to learn from each other. I think, it's difficult being a national program where everyone's spread out all across the country. We'd love to have more of those kind of gatherings, but it's been difficult to do that. So we'd love to have a virtual conference where we can have kind of a focus on local phenology programs and the topics that are of interest, have different kinds of presentations and sessions where you have opportunities for networking. So we're just starting to get ideas together for that. We have set a week in January as kind of our week for the virtual conference. We wanted to get it on everyone's radar. So it is going to be, it's the week of MLK Junior Holiday, which is that Monday. And then it's the rest of that week, starting Tuesday through Friday of that week. And Aaron Grady's just put in the chat a document that we are going to be working in today. So you're welcome to open that up if you want. You should have access to edit it. So let me know if you have a problem with that. If you can't get into the doc, don't worry about it. We're going to have small groups and have one person who's kind of typing in there. But just to give you a little bit of an overview of what's on here. Again, we have our date range, which is January 20th to the 23rd. It doesn't have to be all of those days. One of the things we wanted to get input on from you all is what kind of a schedule would you want to see? I know it's not fun to be on Zoom all day. So we can think about, do we want to break it up? Do we want to offer more like consistent times each day, or do we want to have varying times which allow more people to join? We could have a combination of, morning and evening sessions. So that's kind of one aspect of this. We also want to hear what kind of sessions you're interested in. It can be anything from kind of a showcase. We've had some of these in some smaller meetings in the past where we have a chance for everyone to share for just like 5 or 10 minutes, really quick, kind of round robin style. And then you get to hear about a lot of different programs. We can give prompts for those kind of presentations where it's like, here's 3 questions if you want to guide your presentations to answer those things. We can also do panel presentations. We've done those before in some of our Phenology Week, the National Phenology Week celebrations, where we have a bunch of researchers who are kind of behind the Nature's Notebook campaigns all come and kind of be available for questions and to share a little bit about their expertise. We can have a variety of different kinds of experts for that kind of a session. So we could do educators sharing about lesson plans that they like to use, or people talking about doing interpretation with visitors or communications. We can also do more focused networking by regions. So if you really want to connect with people in your state, we could have like state or broader, maybe like Northeast regional sessions where you can really have a chance to meet other people in your area. We're also open to including observers in this as well. It doesn't have to be just for local phenology leaders. If there's certain sessions that you'd want to have open to your program participants, that's great. We've also heard some interest in kind of organization or agency level sessions where it might be like everyone who's in the National Park Service gets to be in a session and talk about how they're using Nature's Notebook. We have lots of different categories like this. So we have, botanical gardens, we have land trusts, we have Audubon chapters. So if you really want to connect with people that are kind of doing the same thing in a similar kind of organization, but spread out across the country, we could do that as well. We also thought about poster sessions, being able to share in a different way than a short presentation with slides. Maybe people put together like a single visual and we share those. We have those available for people to kind of peruse. We have right now, we've just started this week, our Local Phenology Leader certification course, which Grace is part of. So we could have people from that course kind of report out on what they've done at the end of the 10-week course or other kinds of poster sessions. We've also got some ideas about things that we could share as NPN staff. So we have a couple things in the works that I think you all are aware of. So we have a forum that we're working on. This is going to be kind of a replacement for that Google group listserv that we currently have, the Nature's Notebook community that some of you might be on. We want to have a better forum that's hosted on the website that actually allows people to ask questions about like tricky phenophases and be able to post a photo and talk to other Nature's Notebook observers about those things. And then also have a local phenology program focus forum where you could use that to connect with other people in your area or ask questions, ask about ideas for setting up like plant tagging or maps and things like that you might want to use, or program guides, things that you can kind of learn from each other in that kind of space. We also are, we've been talking about this for a very long time, but some sort of a local phenology program dashboard. So I shared in the chat the local phenology program dashboard that we have currently, which is really focused on like participation metrics. So information about your observers and like how much data you have. But we also would like to have something that uses the visualization tool kind of visuals like about phenology and actually create a dashboard that's more of a dynamic dashboard that would display your data. So we could get input about that in a session. We also want to share with you updates on our Nature's Notebook app. So we are revamping the app. There's a lot to share there. I know some of you have seen portions of that so far, but we could have a kind of a deep dive into that through the conference as well. And then I'm not going to go through all of these, but we also have a number of discussion topics that have come up in past nests, nature stuff with nests and murmurations, things that people have asked about. So that's, starting with the volunteer engagement and going down. So there's a lot of ideas there. So feel free to peruse those. But what we'd like to do in this session today is to really try to do some brainstorming with you all, see if there's like other stuff that you might be thinking about, and also hear a little bit about your preferences for session types and the schedule and things like that. So we have a number of discussion topics here. And again, let me share my screen so everyone can see what I'm talking about. So we just kind of went through, this is all the stuff in the Google Doc here, our ideas so far. And then here we have some discussion topics for today. And so we'd like to actually get into some smaller groups and have everyone kind of talk about these things. So you could, once you get in your breakout group, you can appoint someone to be like the reporter in your group and kind of jot some notes down. And then we'll all come back together for the last 20 minutes or so and have a discussion about what you talked about. But I know that was a lot. So any questions about that or thoughts right now before we get into the breakouts?
I think to summarize, this is a really good opportunity for you to think about like how you want to connect with each other and what you want to hear from other LPPs, but also what you want to hear from us. And if there's any sessions that like anything you're curious about or you want to connect with the NPN team in any way. And then is there anyone else that would be interesting to connect with or hear from? So we can also reach out to researchers who are using these data, or, we can use the connections that we have to pull people in to talk about things that might be of interest to you. So there's kind of like those three different avenues that this conference could kind of be useful for.
Yeah. Hey, and for people who just joined us, maybe could you put the Google Doc in the chat again, Erin, for the people who probably can't see it? So we are
Yeah, sure.
we were talking about our brainstorm so far on ideas for the LPL conference in January. We're going to be getting into breakout groups now to talk about some ideas and your thoughts on some different aspects. So we have some prompts in this Google Doc, and we can also share those out into the breakout groups. But I'm just getting those set up right now. Yeah. I think I'm going to do.
How do we get back to the Zoom? Good question. I don't know. Try that. I might have dropped us out of Zoom.
Make too many rooms. I'm going to keep one group in here in the main room, and then we'll assign 4 other rooms.
I'm signing up to groups. We can close this, I think.
Okay, sorry, you have to wait while I do this. Let me. Okay, I'm actually going to do 3 rooms plus this one. So we'll have 3 to 4 people in each one. Okay, so I think I've got a good 3, and 4. Okay, so I'm going to open the room. So we're going to have about 20 minutes in the breakouts to go through those prompts, which I can share in the chat, but those are in the Google Doc. Just pick someone from your group who wants to record some notes. Don't worry too much about formatting or anything. Just any thoughts that you have that you want to jot down. And then we'll come back in about 20 minutes to discuss together. So, all right, I will open the rooms. So 2 of you are going to be staying in here with me in the main room, and then everyone else will be going out into breakouts. All right, welcome back. So we'd love to hear from you now. If there's anything you'd like to share out from your groups, we can go kind of question by question. But on the first one, we would ask about scheduling and you had any preferences on kind of the way we arrange the schedule in terms of length of the meeting times, whether they're kind of a mix of daytime and evening. Anyone want to share any thoughts on that?
Aaron, I'll jump in there. This is
Yeah.
David. One of the things that we very quickly settled on was the idea of if a virtual conference is the kind of the preferred path, a full day is probably a bit much in that format, and it would be very difficult to maintain interest and engagement throughout the day. So we really felt like maybe focusing on mornings might be a great way to do that, or maybe even a variety of morning and afternoon to give people options in case their mornings are busier than their afternoons and vice versa.
Great. Yeah, I think that looking through it looks like most people feel a full day on Zoom too much. So that's good. We have that consensus. Was there any interest in evening sessions among any of your groups? In ours, we thought maybe not so much, but.
Yeah, the evenings didn't come up, but then we got to thinking also about probably depends on where volunteers come from. So that might be a quick survey of potential participants if they had any. I know we get a lot of interest in evening sessions when we do trainings, but this conference might be okay.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. How about topics? Are there any new topics that came out in your groups that we didn't have in the list already?
The group talked about public education and outreach efforts and how to do it, talking to people who have done it. I'm interested in signage still. I finally got some signs designed, but like to know how other programs are publicizing their work for general audience.
Aaron,
someone suggested that if there's the updates on the new Nature's Notebook app and the website, do this early in the week so that then there can be follow-up sessions to talk about, brainstorm how we might use these either in our programs or with the public.
Okay, yeah. Great thought. We could have like a placeholder in there, follow up. So you have a chance to digest a little bit and then we can revisit like that.
Aaron, there were a couple. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say there are a couple that are on the list that were really packed, or there's a lot in them. So we were wondering if there was some things like when you say funding ideas, that's a really big one because that can be for volunteer recognition, that can be for paying for signage, that can be for any number of things, supplies and equipment. And so we thought maybe what we needed to do there was give people options so that if they had a particular need, they could plug into a segment of that. We thought the other one also that was probably like this was volunteer retention, because volunteer retention also has, it has recruitment in there, it has recognition in there, it has celebration in there in terms of accomplishments. So there's a lot in that. And we felt like maybe there's some things that we probably should expand upon if people were really wanting to learn and grow as they participate in a different session or panel.
Yeah, I like that. I think, one thing we could do is we could have the general topic for each of those and then have something like breakouts with someone, appointed to each of those rooms on the smaller topics, and then people kind of go into whichever ones they want to.
Yeah. We also easily recognize that any one of these, half of these topics could very well be a full conference. So we were concerned that, maybe for the powers that be, balancing some of them might be a really good strategy so that people didn't get kind of lost in the forest and be more mindful of kind of giving them something to take home. And maybe there are some things that need to carry over for future engagement or learning sessions.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of piggybacking on what David was saying, I think if we do multiple days with like sections of each day, there could be different focus each day, so if there's a focus on like funding, volunteer retention, et cetera, but that doesn't fit maybe with the needs or interests of somebody, they could like not go that day or like only go to a few sessions. I'm really interested, and this is very selfish of me, but in the research side of things and regionally, like how to connect with other people in our region. So I loved the idea of like with the time differences, maybe having like a Northeast session and a Southwest session or whatever makes sense. How you see um, the data parsed out regionally. I think that would be really interesting. And then the exact topics covered could be really just dependent on who's available to present at a conference like that.
Cool. Yeah, we had a
Also,
similar conversation in our group about the kind of maybe have a morning that's all on a particular topic or group of topics that would be of interest to one audience. So if someone wants to like block off, I'm just going to attend this one half day and then maybe not the rest, then they can kind of pick and choose. Yeah.
we had a lot of interest in our group about, you know, we hear a lot about weather and climate and day length and how that impacts plant phenology, but they were interested in like how does that actually work, like chemically, like
Mm.
what kind of messages are going on in the plant that
Ah.
are causing that. And it's kind of cool because we don't often kind of talk about those things. So maybe having different kinds of researchers, like researchers who
Uh-huh.
look at the broader trends and also researchers who understand those really the nitty-gritty details and can kind of communicate those things.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't think we've done that before and had that kind of an expert come, so that would be really cool.
Yeah. And Sarah also had a really cool idea about having maybe one session that focuses on fall phenology and then one session that focuses on spring phenology.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Rita and Steve were commenting that, you know, what their fall looks like is very different than what Sarah's fall looks like. And so there could even be like some conversations within those sessions about what does fall mean for you in your region and what kinds of questions do you ask in the fall versus what kind of questions do we ask in the fall. So
Yeah. Yeah, we could have we call it sometimes the water year, people that are on not so typical of a temperate season where you have the green up in the spring. It's more like when do the rains come? That's when we think about the activity starting. So we could do a special session on that.
Yeah,
How about
maybe
oh, yeah.
maybe this has been mentioned already, but
Mhm.
uh, we talked a little bit about the different formats for presenting
Yeah.
topics. Like maybe there might even be a couple of days when there's a big keynote presentation,
Mhm.
and and then smaller study groups, so to speak, on different topics and or panels. Sometimes a leader of a discussion, sometimes a panel, depending on what fits best for a particular topic, so that a
Yeah.
variety of formats might help keep people fresh.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, on the topic of the different types of sessions, Lisa had a great idea in our group about if we do some sort of a virtual poster session, we could have it also include like a scavenger hunt where you have like things you're looking for among the posters, and then you fill out a Google form, and whoever answers can get a prize or something, or be entered into a raffle. Cool. Makes it a little more fun to be hunting through the posters.
I didn't think about this earlier when you're in our smaller groups, but I guess it's along the interpretation, like education, getting the message out to anybody and anybody so that they can digest what phonology is and what we're really talking about.
Mhm.
It would be great to almost have like ecosystem stories, maybe
Hmm.
from general like big general regions where I think a lot of times because it's research, it's focused on like this phenophase life cycle of this specific plant, but
Uh-huh.
really what we're trying to get at is that it's all connected. And I think we need some of those stories um, to have to be able to tell people really this is what we're talking about. Like it's not just this tree, it's all these other things around this tree and what happens when that shifts. And I think those are really important stories that we need
I
to get
love
out in the
that.
world.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it could be kind of going back to those like broader questions that we feel like phenology data can answer. It could be about like the length of the growing season in deciduous trees or about plant and pollinator mismatches, and we can kind of focus in on those kind of broader questions. that.
Yeah, like what's the Richard Primack who wrote the book Walden Warming? So there's a little hypothetical section in there that it just he writes like this is what happens and then what if this shifts and what if this shifts and I feel like it's been a really useful tool for sharing with people and they really have a moment where like oh I get that I understand now. It's not just like a monarch and milkweed. It's like there's a
Yeah.
whole story of things happening. And I wonder if it's possible to have those stories, maybe even just one for each region
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah, I
everyone
like
could
that.
use them.
Yeah, I don't think I've read that, the Walden Warming, so I'll have to look that up.
We may have to have these conferences every year to cover all these things.
Well, that's the idea. Yeah, we'd love to do that. So, yeah, if it's successful, we'll keep it going. So, yeah, if we don't have your favorite topic in this first one, we'll hopefully do it again next year or the year after.
Yeah, one of the
Let's.
things that was very clear is there's a lot of exploration potentially in just the list that currently exists.
Mhm.
So you could very easily see where you might even want to either identify tracks or identify themes for the conference so that each year it lets it be a bit more focused without being too focused.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think technically we could have concurrent Zooms as well, or whatever. I assume we'll be using Zoom as our platform, but if we have really different kinds of audiences that we don't want to only have one session for like in the morning hours, we could potentially have two going on.
Yeah.
What about we didn't really talk about the like who do you want to hear from the most? Was there a lot of interest in kind of like networking with other leaders or more hearing from experts? Any thoughts along those lines?
There is interest in talking to other LPPs in our general area, find out who's out there and what they're doing, where they're doing it.
And
would you-
also local agency organizations like Audubon and where there are people in your community that are involved with other things that could inform what we're doing.
Okay, yeah. I was curious if there's more of an interest in like people in my area versus people that are at a similar kind of organization. Like for the folks that are representing like a botanical garden, do you feel like you'd want to hear from other people like that, or would you want to just talk with more people in your area? And same question for like the NEARS and there's two of you actually from NEARS. Maybe I'm saying that wrong.
How
The
about
National
both?
Estuarine Research
about-
Reserves, Karen and
Can we have
Veronica. Both,
Aaron,
yeah, okay.
Aaron, we had one more to add to that, and those were individuals that had overcome a particular obstacle we were facing. So, people who had direct hands on experience with addressing a particular challenge that many LPPs encounter was also of particular interest to hear a firsthand story or experience that we might learn from.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Grace, for your experience with starting as just
I
one
mean,
observer at your program and trying to build it up.
And what I'm thinking is not just that, but also, I mean, I feel like that thing you just said, David, could apply to a lot of these other topics, like difficulties in training volunteers or keeping volunteers, or difficulties in what is this plant doing? It hasn't
Yeah.
done before, I mean, just all kinds of things.
Yeah, Aaron, Grace just hit on a point that probably could rise to the top very quickly, where the overarching theme of the conference could be volunteers, and then you could have tracks under that for retention, recognition, celebration. I mean, all of those things could be under there, because you can see where could get very big very quickly and not result in direct kind of nuggets that you can digest very easily. So if you could take away from the conference particular things that gave you tools in your toolbox, that might be really powerful for attendees.
Yeah, love that.
Thanks for bringing that up, Grace.
Any last little things that people want to highlight from your conversations?
Can I just jump in with something that just occurred to me?
Yeah.
So throughout my professional career, I have attended conferences and in person. And I was just thinking, well, what did I like about those conferences that we could try to kind of get into this that we haven't talked about? Because of course you want the experts and you want to talk to your peers about particular topics and take, takeaways that you can use back home. But I'm also thinking about sort of peripheral things like the message board. Like, I don't know, we could have not just, chat in particular sessions, but like a conference-wide message board. Maybe you see somebody in a Zoom and you don't get a chat to them during that Zoom session. You could like send them a message. But anyway, and that got me thinking about other things that I won't go on about, but maybe we could talk about it in another context about what works in person that we could try to sort of incorporate into a virtual conference.
Yeah, I love that message board idea. We talked about maybe leveraging this forum that we're putting together to have like the conference part of the forum where people can kind of follow up, like, "Hey, I love this session," and connect with people.
Or even beforehand. Who's
Yeah,
going?
yeah.
What are you interested in? Did I miss something? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's why something like Slack is good.
Yeah. Be able to do that.
I'm also thinking when I think about virtual versus in-person conferences, to me, the one thing that is missing in virtual conferences is like the small talk that you get with people when you're drinking a coffee or lost and trying to find the room that you're getting to, right? Like those are all, and those are really hard to replicate on Zoom. But it could be cool. Maybe we can build in some time for those kind of conversations where we'll say like this is a 30-minute networking session and we really encourage you to make a connection on our forum and then do your own little Zoom call or just to have those little kind of more personal connections that you can kind of miss sometimes on Zoom.
Yeah. I've seen before like a bingo card activity at conferences where you have to like find someone who represents, one of these things. So maybe we could do something like that to encourage people to talk with other people and connect maybe on the forum or on the breakouts. Well, thank you everybody for giving such wonderful ideas. So our next step is we're going to put together a survey to try to get more information from more people on like priorities, just so we can start to kind of refine what the topics are going to be in the sessions and the schedule for this. So we will we'll be in touch on that. And then, yeah, we'll definitely keep you informed about any developments as they come up. We do have a list that we put together, so I can send that in the follow-up email to everyone too, just to make sure everyone's on that. It's kind of just like an email list where we're trying to get everyone who's interested in the conference to get on that. So thanks everyone for being here. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next meeting. All right.
Okay.
Thanks
Be
all.
wonderful.
Bye.